Hey, thanks for joining me. We'll be taking a look at 5 CDs from my collection, some newer buys, some older ones, and let's just get right into it. Gonna start off with Eccles. This is The Dreaming Eye. It came out in 2015, and it's their second of 3 full-length albums. So Eccles are an American black metal band that formed in 2009. Kyle from Nightbringer is the force behind this band. It's him and a drummer. And very occult oriented lyrics. I'm struggling to think of a band to directly compare it to, but I think of it as a kind of a mysterious, dense American take on classic second wave black metal. I haven't heard the first album, but the third one I really like. I actually, when I bought this, I told myself I was buying the most recent one because they both have this, uh, like a witch style person on the front. But I actually like both those album covers. This is on Debamur Morty, and very, very solid album. Been hearing about them for a while. First checked them out 6 months ago, and I bought this like a month ago, and definitely going to keep this in rotation for a while. So speaking of Debamur Morty Productions, this is Porta Nigra, and the album's called Fin de Sequel. So this is a German band, and this is their debut full-length album that came out in 2012. So they're listed as avant-garde black metal from Germany with historical lyrics. I had never heard of this band, but I did buy the CD used. As most of you probably, recognize, it's kind of a, being a metal fan, you always know the spines to look for when you're looking at the used CD racks. So I saw the Debamur Morty symbol there and picked it up, and it was like $6, so I said I'll give it a go. And it's a little bit modern sounding for me. It's not bad, but I can't say it made me a fan. Looking at some reviews, there's a song called Megalomania on here, which is seemingly considered by far to be the best song on there. So I'm going to actually put that on my playlist for when I go on my walks, and I'll give that song another go. So again, this is the first album, and they put out 3 since then. So we're going to look at an older CD, and I did bring this CD out on one of my first videos ever, but no one watched that, and I think this is an amazing album. So we're going to take a look once again at Album, the debut solo album by Quorthon, of course, of Bathory fame. He put out 2 solo albums, this one in 1995 on Black Mark Productions, and then he put out a double one. I think it was called The Purity of Essence. That came out a couple years later. And there were a couple real standout tracks on that one, but this one I much prefer. It's a minor classic to me. My favorite song on here is Boy, Too Little, Much Too Late. I like that one as well. A lot of people will bring up the first song. It's got really strange lyrics for coming from the guy behind Bathory. And I heard that song first on this Black Mark Productions sampler. It was in Sounds of Death magazine. And over the years, I've heard many people bring up this sampler. So I think it... I think that sampler, if you ask me, is a big reason for Edge of Sanity's minor fame. Twilight was the first song on that sampler. That's probably the most famous Edge of Sanity song. And even like for me, that was one of the first death metal songs I ever heard. And yeah, it just seems like that sampler had a big impression on a lot of people. So I got this album years later, and again, it's more of a heavy alternative rock thing, but still got darkness to it. Quorthon sounds like Quorthon. I'm surprised how little people talk about the Quorthon solo stuff. Okay, let's get into some lesser known material. This is a band called Grail, and the album is called Agitation. And this is an EP, 6 songs, and it's an independent release. And I forgot I had this actually, but they are from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And my parents live in that neck of the woods, and I was just over there just a couple weeks ago, and I did see a copy of this in one of the local record stores, so it just kind of made me think to dig it out. And again, this is a somewhat straightforward modern thrash metal. It's fine, but not really my style. Just kind of 4 guys jamming out some straightforward thrash. Again, not the thing I reach for. I need something a little bit darker than that. Or has to be, again, a Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets kind of masterpiece. But this is still just some solid metal. And some names on here. You have Dave from Revocation with a guitar solo. You have Rob from the Canadian thrash metal band Sacrifice doing a guest vocal. And I guess the main vocalist on here is a guy who is also in a band called Indian Handcrafts. And I don't know a ton about them, but I did see them live one time, and I did pick up one of their early albums, and they were pretty cool. It's kind of noisy Canadian rock band. They were really cool. So he's a singer here as well. So Grail. Finally, this doesn't really count, but I do not have any Inge Malmsteen releases or any proper full lengths, so I really just have this collection here, so I thought I'd just take this out briefly. Of course, Inge Malmsteen, one of the most famous shredders of all time. It's been around since the late 70s, starting in Alcatraz. I moved on to probably make a couple dozen solo albums by this point. And I like what I hear, just not a big follower. My favorite songs on here are Black Star and You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget. That's it for today. See you next time.